Tony Hasahya. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Paul. I'm very glad to be here.
You are literally changing the face of Uganda. Not only are you into medical machine fabrication, but you're also into manufacturing. You've been making a ton of masks that are saving a lot of lives in Uganda.
Thank you, Paul. This for me is a passion. I have a bit of exposure. My background is medicine. I'm a cardiologist with a PhD in medicine. And having that research background, when I came, of course, I wanted to practice medicine. After coming back from China, where I did my PhD, and came back to Uganda. But then I realized that we had a gap, especially in diagnostic equipment. And I said, well, there is a challenge of affordability, but there's a gap, and we need to do something. So that's how we started to refurbish used medical equipment. So I would get it from the West at quite a low cost. And then put together a team of engineers, and we were able to refurbish it, test it, and recommission it and add it another lease of life of maybe 10 to 15 years, and then sell it at a modest cost. And this has greatly impacted medicine. So we sell X-ray machines, we sell CT scans, we sell ultrasound machines, and those we are able to refurbish those that have either been written off or that have been decommissioned, and then we give it a new lease of life.
As a medical doctor, how did you think about even getting into that field? Because that's also a very highly specialized field.
I've always been enthusiastic about tech and manufacturing and making things. So which even will shock you, when COVID came, locally here we're not making masks, and there was a great shortage of medical masks. As a doctor, I was a practicing clinician. I was at risk. My colleagues were at risk, and the box of masks went from just a mere about $3 to about $100. You can imagine, it was so expensive. Even with your $100, it was hard to come by. So I said, look, I could study this equipment. I think I could do something about it. I tried to get funding here and there to source the equipment to make the masks. I couldn't. So I said, wait a minute, I'm a scientist. I went online, I did study several models, and we came up with one. So we did manage to make our own KN95 manufacturing machine, about 70–80% local, and a few critical parts we imported. And we put together our first machine, and we were able to make KN95. I think we're the first in the country to do that.
It's a remarkable thing that somebody could come up with such an idea. When the whole world was hunkered down, everybody was trying to look for ways to survive through this pandemic. You came up with a solution. Even here, you talked about masks being expensive. Initially here in the United States, they were impossible to get. They were very expensive. You could buy a pack of like 10 for about $30. How much of an impact do you think you've had on the community just by doing that locally?
When COVID started, we had our first lockdown in March 2020, and by the time of the lockdown, I can tell you, we're not manufacturing a single piece of masks as a country, none whatsoever. And of course, after lockdown, different people were thinking. We managed to make our first masks in August 2020. And since then, we have introduced the 3-ply mask. This is a mask from our company. You can see it is very authentic. Our demand as a country was about 353 million masks annually, and we're making none. Currently, about 50% of the masks are made locally. We make about 10% of that, 10%, because we have upped our production from a paltry 20,000 daily to about 125,000 masks daily, or that translates to about 3.5 million masks per month, or about 42 million masks annually. That's slightly about 10% of our need as a country for just this particular mask. So I think that is an impact. We also have created jobs. We employ about 46 youth, and the number is still growing. About 85% of those are women. That's also another big impact that we have had. Of course, we saved the country lots of money for import of this mass.
I wish the world had a lot more people like you, people who think outside of the box. They look at a problem and come up with a solution. Thank you so much for your time, Tony.
Thank you, Paul.